Hello, and welcome to Here's the Thing with Robbie and Jose, where we explore relationships through a male and female perspective. With me, as always, is the lovely Robbie. So am I.
For the listeners, we just finished Raising Cane's and glazed donuts.
And for people that don't have Raising Cane's in their area, I feel bad for you right now.
I found out
My
today that
sympathy.
you didn't really care for the sauce, which I thought was really crazy because I'm telling you, people will go there mainly for the sauce.
Yeah, it's not bad. And every now and again, I'll get a hankering for it if I want something.
For the sauce or for?
No, for both. But
Okay.
the sauce in particular because it's zesty.
Yeah, it tastes good on the fries and on the bread.
Yeah, but most of the time when I eat Raising Cane's chicken, I eat it dry just by itself.
Oh, okay. It's pretty flavorful though. I can see that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I feel.
Yeah, there's a lot, and I'm still gonna munch on it a little bit. Not during the show, but
Yeah,
I
no
will be
eating
eating.
on the show.
No, absolutely not. But today we are continuing our series on the 5 love languages, right?
Yes.
So this time I did a little research on physical touch.
Let's get physical. Can I just say, side note, I
Sure.
realize that I do sing almost in like every episode. Like I do a little, which is strange because I don't think I ever did that before. If I'm wrong, you tell me. I don't know. But I'm like, every episode it feels like I got to do a little singing.
I'm used to it just because you do it and you're talking. Just
Oh,
when
I do?
Yeah, whenever we talk, you
Oh.
do that. You break into song.
I feel like that's a new trait at some point.
Nope. You're
It's
just
not.
noticing it for yourself. You can talk to all your other friends and family and ask them like, do I do that? Because self-awareness is
Yeah, I guess that's the
fantastic.
one thing about podcasting. It's like you start to realize like that's how I sound or that's what I do, and like
It really it'll fine tune your listening skills and how you articulate
I
yourself.
can't
too.
believe I've always done that.
Yeah, it's not bad. I make noises and whenever I tell
What kind of
stories.
noises?
You know, like a typical guy. You know, if I'm like there was a car went by. That's a. Everybody knows that sound. And when a guy does that, it's like, oh, gotcha. I got the visual. I got the sound effects. I'm into this story. What happened after the car went?
I never noticed that. Now I'm gonna have to pay attention to you when you narrate or
Yeah,
whatever.
or I change the pitch of my voice if I'm playing the girl part. And she
Oh.
said, I didn't like that.
Speaking of which, now that
like
you just
Mickey.
said that, I was talking to a guy friend of mine the other day, and he tried to do a girl voice, and he sounded just like you, like Mickey Mouse. I said, "Bro, you sound like Mickey Mouse." And he was like, "Yeah, I'm actually kind of scared how closely I sounded like Mickey Mouse."
Yeah.
But that's how women sound in your head.
No, but that's as close as I can get to
no,
making
or
them
what
sound like that. No, it's and it's funny because people have phone voices, and their
Yes.
phone voices are different than
My work
their
voice is very different.
in-person voice. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird.
Some people have said that, and I didn't notice I did this. Sometimes when I answer my cell phone, when a friend calls, I answer it and I say, "Sup," like instead of hello or whatever. And I was like, I don't say that. And they're like, yeah, you do. You just say sup. I'm like,
You're becoming self-aware. Aww.
aw. It only took 100 years.
And the funny part is that you're arguing with them like, no, I don't. It's like, yeah, man.
Well,
I
even
call
you
all
said
the
that just
time.
now. I thought that was a trait that I came when we started the podcast. I thought it was just like,
No.
anyways,
Unfortunately not.
let's get physical.
Yeah, let's get So back on topic.
Yes.
Physical touch. That's the love language that we'll be discussing today. So one of the things that comes up, right, and I think it's all based on that one book by, what's his name, Gary Chapman? I think?
Gary Chapman.
Yeah, Gary Chapman. So is the that when it comes to physical touch, it's not necessarily always have to be romantic or, erotic, if you will. Although that's part of it, obviously it can lead to that. But I think it's what they've come to find out is, or what they've discovered is it's a lot more than that, right? Physical touch, that's just how they feel closer and connected to you, right? So just touching you, holding hands, cuddling, especially watching TV.
I almost broke out another song just in the, it's like, you said touching you, and I thought of that. I won't sing it, but I'm like, I'm sorry.
I do it with movies. I just every time something it reminds me of a movie, and for you it's songs. So it reminds you of a song. So I get it.
We should be on Broadway. We're in the wrong profession.
You're doing jazz hands, right? You just did jazz hands. I just want to make sure that I saw that correctly.
I did.
Because that's a first for me.
You put me on blast. Now everybody knows.
But yeah, maybe we should go to Broadway and do a 2-man show. That would be great. Here's the thing.
Oh my God. Can you can? Can you can?
Oh my goodness. But yeah, so physical touch.
My face hurts now. I'm sorry. Physical touch.
Physical touch, yeah. I think I've dated quite a few women in my time that was their primary love language.
I feel like a majority of men, that's their number one. The men that I've come in contact with, it seems like that's their number one. Yeah,
I can see that because for us, we're very what's the word? How can I describe how men are? I don't know, like we need things, right? And I'm not saying that a woman is a thing, but like I can touch it, I can smell it. I can.
No, stop there.
It's real.
I think you're going to go through the senses.
No. I was just, but the touching part,
right?
It becomes more real, right? It's not. I don't know how to describe that. And then here's the other thing too, and it might get a little tricky once we get into this part, but there's something about having access to a person like that nobody else has. That is also very...
It's exclusive club.
It's very much so, right? Because it's like, I'm the only one that could touch you like that. Like nobody else can touch you like that. I'm not supposed to anyway. And if somebody else is touching like that, we got a problem. But yeah, there's that part that you're exclusive and I have access to you. Now, again, this is where things get a little tricky because if your partner doesn't have the same love language, they might not want to be touched and they might feel uncomfortable when you touching them without asking for permission.
Can I ask a question? Is that like the same lines of like how guys are territorial? Is that the same, basically what you just said of like, no one's allowed to do this thing but me, so it feels exclusive, but it's also your property. So like it comes with like, that's what I'm saying. Like that's the same thing.
Okay. And women do it too, mind you, right? I mean, they're territorial as much as they could tell you that they're not. I think it's a human trait personally, because I've heard a lot of, I've heard women say, that's my man. It's like, oh, okay.
Or even when you're a child, it has to be because when you're a child, that's my toy.
Yeah.
You already have, like, this is my thing. Don't mess with my thing.
Yeah, it's a human trait. I mean, I'm sure it's in the animal kingdom too, but yeah. And so the same situation, right? It's like if a woman's primary love language is physical touch, like, again, she expects I can touch him whenever I want to.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what he's doing. It doesn't matter if he's sitting comfortably on a couch or if he's outside working on, in the garage. I'm still going to go up and hug him and that's just what I can do, right? So, but like I said, where things get a little tricky is if the other person, that's not how they... Yeah,
because if they don't like it, then you don't feel like it's exclusive anymore. If every time that they try to come and hug you and you say no, right, or whatever.
Well, I mean, the exclusivity is part of it, but the other part is like, well, that's how I express it, but I can't do that because I have to ask for permission. So you have to learn how to navigate that after a while because... Yeah, it can be problematic if the other person is like, "Hey, I don't like it when you just touch me out of the blue." You know what I mean?
Well, I guess for those people, it would have to be like, if you're with them for a while, you kind of know the times where it's acceptable and when it's not, based on trial and error. Like for the most part, like if I'm doing chores and I'm disgusting, I'm sweaty, I'm mopping.
That's when I want to hug you the most. That's exactly when I want to hug you the most. That's when I'm
working out. I don't want you to come and smell me. And it's like, don't smell me. I just came from the gym. Like I need to go.
That's okay. That's exactly when I want to hug them. And that's exactly when I want to kiss them. That's when it's also, I don't know. How can I explain that? It's also part exclusivity because nobody else is going to be able to do that. Nobody else is going to be able to do that, right? Not that anybody would, right? Like you said, they're stinky, whatever. But that's the whole point. It's like, no, it's fine.
You have to really care about the person to try to hug on them after they worked out.
Absolutely. And what's tough about it is that, again, if if you're the type of person that doesn't want to be touched a lot all the time, and that's when they're doing it, it becomes even more comfortable. Like you said, you're tired, you're sweaty, you're nasty, you're not feeling, the most attractive at the moment. And then somebody's over here trying to hug up and kiss on you. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
get away. And you don't mean to do that, but for a person that's physical touch, they can take it really hard.
Yeah.
Because because that's just how they navigate the world. Now you're rejecting them. That's hard.
It's kind of sad too, because when we do reject you in that scenario, it's just that it's almost like you're trying to be courteous. Like, I smell bad. I'm trying to be courteous. Right. Can you let me shower first or whatever? But I get it that they are like, oh, what is it about
hurts.
me? Yeah.
It hurts. It hurts a lot. But you can kind of tell that. And so I did a little bit of research on the internet. Yay,
on this thing called the internet. Yay, internet.
And you know how the internet is all fact-based, right?
Yeah, 100% facts.
So
they can't put it on there if it's not true.
No,
Remember
absolutely.
we used to think that if it was in a book, it had to be real? Boy, were we wrong.
I mean, we're kind of wrong. I don't know.
I read it in a book.
But this was off an article that I got off the internet, and they were giving you, 5 signs that physical touch is your love language.
Okay.
So we'll kind of go through them. So the first one is you're comfortable with public displays of affection, even in front of a large group. Mm-hmm. That one I think is important.
Do they break down what type of display?
I would imagine because it's affection could be hand holding, could be kissing on the cheek. I don't know if they want to get like all up in each other.
Well, I'm just saying, like, let's say that you had a girlfriend and maybe not for you. I have to speak maybe for a woman. If I had a boyfriend and they came to my job one day to eat lunch with me, I don't really want to make out in front of in the quad where like everybody can see me, all my bosses and everything. Like, yeah, that would make me uncomfortable. But if I was holding your hand, it's not a big deal.
Well, okay, that one I would understand because that's a work environment and they have to see you a certain way. But let's just say that it's not work.
Okay, what if I'm at a family function, I'm sitting on the couch and my boyfriend comes up to me, he starts making out with me with all my nieces and nephews just sitting around on the floor playing board games. That seems a little strange too, don't it?
Yes. Again, that's a different setting. I think what they're talking about is more just in a group setting in general. But so 2 things about that.
Group of people you don't know.
Group of people that you don't know for the majority, right? So
Gotcha.
Yes, you want to be respectful. Wow.
That was cute.
Wow. Okay. You want to be respectful of, let's say you were around your dad. You want to be making out with your boyfriend or even your husband for that matter in front of your dad. Your dad doesn't want to see that. Like, sorry, they just don't want. It's not that they don't love you. They love you, but I just don't want to see that. Right? You're my daughter.
It's just like when your parents make out when you're younger. You're like, ew, like you don't. This is your mom and dad. You don't want to see that.
Well, but you say that, and at the same time, I think that's good for kids. I know it's not. We're going to digress a little bit, but I think it's good when kids see their parents be affectionate with one another. Of course. Like it reaffirms like it's okay to do this. This is fine.
I think for the kids who grew up and they didn't have that, they seem to have issues with just not commitment, but like the whole sanctity of that. You know what I'm saying? They usually have issues with that because it's like, well, my parents didn't like each other and they were just roommates basically, let's say their whole lives. And that's all you saw.
Yeah. And that's the point. You don't know. You can make that assumption as a child. Maybe they were deeply in love with one another, but they just didn't show it affectionate. So I can see how you can make the connection of like, oh, they really didn't like each other. And then you ask them and they're like, yeah, we were madly in love. We just didn't show it out in public. Like we kept that very private and that was between us. So you never really know. But what doing it in public does is it says it's okay. Now, again, depending on how far you go. But I was watching a movie. So here goes my get up. But it's a movie called Rob Roy, and I think they're in Ireland or whatever. And so it was Liam Neeson, and I can't remember the actress's name. She's oh man, I can't remember her name. Anyways, they had this small little house, probably the size of your living room, and everybody lived there. So it was a man and wife, and they had like 4 kids. They had bunk beds all over.
And Ma and Pa were there.
Well, they had everybody there. So you can't, and they have 4 kids, which means they can't, unless they're going to go outside in the woods. You know what I mean? To have sex, like they had to do it right there in front of everybody. Like that was just part of it.
What would you do if you were out in the woods doing that and let's say a bear came up?
What are we talking about? We've really gotten off rails.
Okay, sorry.
The
process
I don't know
of
what
what
you're
I'm
supposed to do when you're not run. I think you're supposed to not run. You're supposed to make loud noises with your stuff hanging out everywhere. I don't know. The bear doesn't
Jazz
care.
hands, maybe.
The bear doesn't care. If anything, the bear's like, okay, you've taken all this clothes off, which I was just going to do anyways.
Thank you for unwrapping
yes.
my egg roll for me.
My lunch, as it were. But yeah, I don't know. I remember one time I was outside and I did that, but just since we're already here, and I had. Do you know what a chigger is?
Yes.
Yeah, and I had a whole bunch of them just eat up my legs. All my calves were just full of. But I was in the moment.
You didn't feel it till later.
No, I was in the moment. I was like having fun, but
Ivy.
I was just like it was bad.
I remember chigger medicine from and this is like back from like the 80s. It looked. I remember I have this visual. It looked like throw up in a jar. That's what chigger medicine looked like to me.
Yeah, it's no fun though. It is
I know.
fun.
I lived down the country for a little while.
I don't. I live in the city, and so this girl just happened to live out in the country, and that was. I mean, it was fun for sure, but I don't know that I would ever want to do that
Okay, so groups of people that you don't know.
Yes.
No bears were there.
Yes. No. So that's the first indicator that if they're okay with that and showing public affection or whatever. Or being affectionate in public, then chances are they might be okay with it, right? Because they'll let you know pretty fast. And then the next one is you feel alone in a relationship if you're not able to express or receive physical affection. So that one's harder to quantify. But if they're not touching you at all, except for when you're being intimate, I'm assuming because you have to touch then. I can kind of see how they would feel alone, right? Because they like. Maybe hugging and kissing a lot, and you're not getting that. Yeah. So I can feel like,
Because showing like a little bit of physical affection is it's basically saying I care about you without saying it. It's just like if I come up behind you and I pat you on the back, I'm like, what's up, brother? I'm touching you to show you that like I care about you. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Physical touch for me, that's one of the reasons like I feel bad for the guys that work really, really hard, like blue collared, you know what I mean? These guys are that are really working with their hands and they develop these calluses on their hands and fingers and stuff. I always feel bad for those guys because at some point they become desensitized. Yeah. And so even if they were, let's say, caressing a woman's back or whatever,
can't feel it.
They don't feel it themselves, and or their fingers and hands might be too rough that it, you know what I mean?
Oh, that's sad. They don't
it might
know
be
what it's
uncomfortable
like
for the woman
to touch a soft woman.
Yeah, well, and I've heard certain women like it when guys have those calluses on their hands. I'm telling you, there's certain women that like I remember I used to know this
like
one
the idea of he's a manly man.
I guess I don't know what it's triggering for them, but I knew that there was this one lady, and she said she used to like it when he had dirty hands. So he would like work on cars and stuff. Okay. And he would have like oil and grease and stuff underneath his fingernails. And she'd like that. There was something about that turned her on about a guy when she didn't like clean.
What a weird fetish to have.
I did. That's what I'm saying. I think there's certain women that like muscular hands and strong hands.
Yeah, I get
and
that.
Calloused
but
hands.
the grease underneath your fingernails, that's kind of harder for me to relate to.
I don't know.
But yeah, I guess if it's triggering, like this guy, he knows how to work with his hands. He's tools. He could fix this, which is very attractive. Like all those things. Sure. Like, yeah, I get it.
The guy works with his hands. What are you going to do? So anyways, that's the thing. But, the next one, if I can open up my iPad here, you like to get massages on a regular basis and love the occasional foot rub. I like that. Yeah. I like that. So just real quick, I was just going to say, I never really got a lot of foot rubs. And then I remember one girlfriend that I had, she would give me foot rubs and it made me uncomfortable at first. But then when she started giving them to me,
you sit on the couch and you immediately put your feet up on her lap.
But but what I will say is that I did like it. I started to like it after a while, and
it's acquired taste.
Is it?
I don't like people touching my feet.
Well, again, like a foot massage though. A foot massage is great.
I don't like people touching my feet. Even when I get a pedicure, it's very uncomfortable for me.
Why?
Because it tickles and all that, and I just don't like that.
Well, that's why you got to get. I tickle too. I tickle really easy because I'm not used to it. But I'm telling you, once you get used to it, it's very difficult to not get it
I
anymore.
had a lot of pedicures in my life. I'm just saying that's
but they were different people. I'm telling you, and that's what I'm saying. Like, let's say you got you have a partner, right? And your partner is massaging your feet. And at first, it's tickly, this, that. And so he's going to learn too how to approach it. Either slow it down, don't graze certain way or whatever.
Gotcha.
There's certain spots, and he'll figure it out. And you will too. You'll eventually get used to his touch more and more and more. And then as he starts, let's say massaging your foot, right, and hitting certain pain points, you're going to be like, "Ooh, I like that," and he'll do it more. And then before you know it, as long as you guide him and like do that more, or the ball, or concentrate on the heel, whatever. I'm telling you, it becomes very addictive really, really fast. But my point being is that, again, it's physical touch. So maybe if physical touch isn't your primary, I can see where you would be like, nah, I'm good.
I was just thinking like one of the best parts because I was just thinking about the massages part. The best thing in a relationship is having someone sitting next to you and you have an itch that you can't reach and like, oh, can you scratch? That's like the best to have someone there.
Yeah. I love doing that. If we're sitting down and let's say she's on the edge of the couch and I'm all the way back, leaning back, I'll just naturally start rubbing her back just because I know how good that
But I'm
feels.
just saying like a thing that you can't do. Like I can't tell you how many times in the morning I can't zip up my dress from the back and I'm like looking around. There's no one here to help me. I'm like, and then
what
you
does
have
one
to like
do in that situation?
Well, you can take out, if you have like a wire hanger, you could like unroll the top part, have a little hook it in.
So you turn into MacGyver?
Yes. So you take a rubber band,
Okay, you turn it into a hook.
You could fasten something like that. Or what I usually have to do is a contortionist type thing to try to get my arms where they need to be.
You know what we need to do? We need to invent something that takes
I just
care of
did
that.
right there.
No, you got the little hooky thing. I'm talking about like we need to invent a gadget, maybe like a stick or something where you could put a hook on it and then it could go up or down or something.
Like the wire hanger I just said. This is what it is.
Well, no,
it's
but
a
I'm just
stick
saying
with
like,
a hook.
you could just put it back there and then just hit like a button or remote control and it goes all the way up or something. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
After all these years, I'm surprised that they haven't figured out how to solve that problem.
Yeah.
And I don't even know why do you guys have zippers in the back in the first place anyways?
Because where is it going to be?
In the front, like everybody. My jacket is in the front. That's how I zip it up.
No, they're not in the front of dresses. That would be weird.
I know. Why would that be weird? I don't think
because
guys would
it's a
think that would be
constant
weird.
distraction. In the middle of your gown is this huge zipper.
Why don't you just do it on the side then?
They have some that are on the side.
Yeah, those make more sense to me.
Okay, but most dresses are a zip from the back.
It's a design flaw. We're gonna.
Well, I'm just saying certain things that they are physical technically, but having a partner. Be like, oh, I can't reach. You're trying to scratch. You can't reach this part. Like, baby, scratch my back right here, and then you go up, lower, and then
to me, it's like putting like you had to tie your shoelaces in the back of your foot. Why would you do that? That just doesn't make any sense. Just so that you don't have laces in the front, and aesthetically, it just looks better. But I'm just like, no, that's how you tie. Anyways, sorry, that's my grumpy old man. Like, I don't understand. All right.
That was your old man voice.
That was my old man voice. I don't understand.
These kids today, take out the trash.
Get off your phone. The next one is you pride yourself at being a good hugger and you like sitting close to others.
Everybody in my family has my father is like the best hugger.
Yeah.
Some guys, they just know exactly.
And give the big bear hug.
Yeah.
And he's a big guy too.
Yeah,
So.
he's a big guy. But like, just the right spot, the right amount of, squeeze or whatever. But yeah.
Look, you can comfort sometimes a person a lot more by giving them a hug than by saying words. Yeah. I'm not saying words.
Or like
words
a little
help too,
kind of pat on the back. You're like, it'll be all right. You're like, man, I need a hug, man. I'm sad.
I always need a hug. Hugs are always great. But because of that, and I will say this is also my biggest get up too, is I like to have good personal hygiene for that matter. Because I figured I like to hug. So I don't want to hug somebody and either be stinky or sweaty or, bad breath or any of that stuff. So I constantly make sure that, I have good dental hygiene and
Would you
wash
say
my
the
face and-
majority of people where physical touch is their number one love language, that they're probably that same sentiment of
I
wanting to
hope
be?
so. I hope so, because if not, those people are going to be very lonely.
You had the saddest eyes just now.
Because I feel bad because if they're not, they're going to be very lonely because they crave the physical touch.
Yeah.
And in order to be, obviously, you have to get in close proximity.
Maybe get with another stinky person.
Well, oh gosh,
Two
that would just be
stinky people.
horrible. I don't think that would work. I think maybe you're right. That might drive it. Like,
Yeah.
you would definitely want to be courteous. If I like to hug, again, I'm going to have to make sure that I smell good. I got just good personal hygiene in general.
Right.
Because if not, nobody's going to want to hug me. And I'll find that out really, really fast. Like, nah, bro, just give me a handshake or a fist bump. I'm good.
Yeah, you like Pigpen. You got
like,
a cloud
even-
of dirt.
Exactly.
You're
Like
right.
that little, wasn't there a Charlie Brown?
I said Pigpen.
Oh, is that what it was?
I think that's his name.
It goes well wearing my Charlie Brown.
You are wearing
shirt.
your Charlie Brown shirt. I told Jose that he looked like he was straight out of high school. He's got the white bottom sneakers on with the Charlie Brown shirt.
Red and black.
You look like you in high school and you had a backpack when you came over.
I'm telling you, and then if I were to put on my Ray-Bans, I'd look like a cholo all the way around, man.
We got to button this top button.
I
Right
know, but it's gonna get too hot, and this is like sweater. This is knit,
Yeah,
so
it's a short sleeve sweater.
yeah, it's but I feel good. But yeah, I think personal hygiene, you definitely, because even I noticed, even with my buddies, and again, I've known them for 30 years. Not that it matters, but because even guys that I've known for less, I still give them a hug. We do that whole the hand clap, and then we bring it in for a hug.
You pat really hard on the back, usually 2 to 3. And then it's funny when the claps are off on each other's backs. You're both doing it, and it's like click, clack, click, clack, click.
But yeah, I don't know. It's guys can do that. I'm sure it comes from a much more primal reason, but yeah,
Maybe like wrestling, like how bears when they're little and they go up to their brother. And
it's for a guy, right? I'm gonna get really guyish right now, but
guy time.
Yeah, it's guy time. But it has to do with a bunch of things, right? So I heard the other day, and I don't know if this is where it came from, but handshakes came from. You would extend your hand and you would show them I don't have a weapon on me. And then eventually they went in and they embraced and they would hug each other. And that's how you knew, like, okay, he doesn't have a weapon or whatever.
You forgot one of those swords that come out of your
Yeah, I mean, you could, but that's how you feel the arm. It's like, all right, bro, I feel that dagger right there in your forearm.
dagger.
That's how you get that's knife. I don't know. But that's where that came from. And I think when you go in for a hug, I think it also diffuses it. You know what I mean? Because guys in general tend to size each other up, especially when you're younger.
Right.
You just size up a dude and it's like, man, can I take him in a fight?
So weird.
It is. That's what I'm saying. I'm getting really guy here, right?
Oh, yeah, I forgot it's guy time.
Yeah, it's guy time. It's guy
Okay.
time. You got to put your guy hat on.
Okay.
And I'll put my girl hat
The
on.
dunce
later on.
hat, that's the guy hat.
But it's very like, could I take this dude? Even if we could both be in like 3-piece suits, you know what I mean? In a convention. But I'm still could I take this guy? If I had to take this guy, could I take this guy? And a lot of warriors and soldiers, they do that all the time, but they perfect it, right? Because they go a step further. Like, like if I did have to take this guy, this is how I would do it, right? And some of us do that too. But when you bring it in, you kind of size them up. You see how big they are, and you can see how aggressive they are too. Because some guys are way more aggressive, but if it's like a, and it could be aggressive too. Like if you haven't seen them for a long time, like come here, man, and they give you a big giant hug. Like, but again, you're just sizing each other up.
Oh, I gotta stop you real quick because I have a question.
You're looking at me intensely.
I know
With a pretty
because it's just
straight
bringing
face.
up a bunch of. So the other day,
Yeah.
I meet this guy for the first time. I extend my hand out to shake his hand, and the guy gives me the dead fish.
What do
Well,
I do?
Why are people, men especially, don't know how to shake hands with somebody? Why would he do this if I'm like trying to shake his hand?
Well, okay. Did it go in?
What?
Did he go in? Did he extend it with his hand down like that?
I don't remember that part. All I know is that he gave me that dead fish handshake. and I was
where
confused.
like it was barely,
hold on. It was like that.
Okay. Yeah. All he's trying to do though. So it depends. It depends, right? And this is the part that you don't really know, because I encounter that with some of the men that I meet too. And you never know, because it could be that they're just, for you, because they're seeing you as a lady, they're just trying to be extra gentle and not trying to crush your hand. If that makes sense. Because they are taking that into consideration. Like, yeah, I can hold your hand and like shake it really hard and firm.
But you can put your hand on my hand and maybe don't shake it really firm, but at least cup my hand. Like, at least, you know what I'm saying?
Like, yeah. I mean, it could be that.
It's just so weird. I mean, you're just talking about
nervous.
well, I don't know. It's happened a lot. I'm just saying that you're talking about like the guy, like, hey man, it's good to see you. You hug in, you size them up that way because you're feeling how strong they are, whatever. But it's like, the handshake, I feel when two guys meet and they handshake.
For the first time?
Yeah, it's the same thing, right? It's like, how hard are you going to squeeze it, right?
Well, sometimes it can turn into that. But you, in general, when I shake a guy's hand that I've never met before, I want to do it firm enough that it's not too whatever, but not too aggressive either, where, you know, like, hey, I'm telling you.
You know what I like though? If I were to shake a hand with a woman, let's say I didn't like her or something.
Yeah, let's take a real life scenario there.
No one would know, because all everyone else is seeing is a normal handshake. Yeah. But she knows. I'm not saying I'm just saying it's interesting how you can be aggressive and be like, without saying anything, and nobody notices.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Women, y'all are in a totally different.
I know.
Y'all are in a totally different. Y'all tend to compliment each other when you don't like each other.
Oh, I don't do that. I don't give false compliments. No.
I mean, maybe not, but I mean,
that's a personal principle of mine. I'm not going to tell you I like this thing when I don't like it. That's just me personally.
I get it. But for guys, yeah, you can usually size up a dude pretty good. And one guy, I shook his hand, and he did that part where your fingers not interlock, but they do that couple together.
Okay.
If they, you know what I mean? Like, you give the handshake and then you're about to let go, but then you bring it back
when you
in.
do the snap.
Yeah. And so I did that with him. But the problem is he had super long nails.
Ooh.
And they were hard. So when he went into my palm, I could feel him digging into my palm with
what
those.
What if he cut it him to a point?
It felt like it. It felt like they were they were weapons almost.
Was it a vampire?
No, it was just a regular dude. But I was just like, man, that hurt. Like, it hurt my palm. Like, it went deep into my palm.
Yeah.
Had the little indentation afterwards. I was like, this.
You got a permanent scar.
Yeah,
it's like
dude.
4 little fingers.
but yeah, I think because when boys are growing up, well, at least for me, maybe not so much nowadays, but we used to get in fights all the time, and that's how you would size a guy up.
Right.
And sometimes it really didn't really matter who won.
Yeah, mutual respect. Like,
it was
you
mutual
came
respect.
To the fight.
Yeah, and you also learned if this dude fought fair or if he fought dirty. And if he fought dirty, then
typically, his character.
Yeah, like, watch out for that. That dude pulls hair. Because if you did that growing up in a fight, if you pulled a dude's hair, even if you won that fight, even if you came out victorious, all they're gonna think is that dude pulls hair. Okay, what if he
takes the top of your hair, pulls it up, and then punches you while holding your hair?
That's different.
Oh, okay.
But I'm just saying, like, he's losing the fight, and then he pulls your hair to get out of it or whatever.
Or kicks you in the groin. Is that another one?
That's another one. Yeah. That's a. Once you get older, like, these are
what
rules.
What about poking the eyes?
Yeah, you don't typically want to do that, and so the when you're a kid, those are the rules.
Right.
When you get older, it doesn't matter. When you're an adult, I'm going to do whatever I can to win. I could care less about. You know what I'm saying?
You're not on the play yard anymore.
Well, because when you're an adult, you realize, like, I'm outmatched. He's going to be taller, stronger, weighs more than me. So we're not. It's not an equal match. I'm going to have to do what I have to do to win. I don't care, because you already have a huge advantage over me. And especially if I'm not trying to fight and you're trying to fight me, yeah, my job then is to take you down. I don't care if I pull your hair or kick you in the groin. I'm going to do whatever I can, because this is a street fight, and I'm not going to sit here and, get pummeled by you just because, hey, I don't fight dirty kind of thing. But it does, when you're growing up, you can tell whether or not that person is. And so again, there's something, I'll give you this one too. I'll just say, because again, I remember movies a lot. Do you remember in Silence of the Lambs, the greatest love story of all
Best
time?
movie ever.
That was like a mentor and a mentee falling in love, but not falling in love kind of thing. And I think the books were more aligned to that too, by the way. But anyways, if you remember the last time that they saw each other, when he was in jail and he was giving her the paintings or whatever, he stroked her finger. And like, again,
like a G.
But the thing about it is that's why you do it, because it's that physical touch. It and I'm not saying it's for all men, but it does kind of solidify it. It's like, okay, now I'm touching you.
Yeah.
Because like, let's say you go on a date and you're meeting somebody, maybe you hug on the first. I'm a hugger. So typically when I meet somebody at a restaurant, whatever, I'll go in for a hug.
Yeah.
But if they're not comfortable with that, I understand that too.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to force it on them. But then you have that whole thing of you're going to go the entire night. And especially if you're really jiving, it's like, oh, can I go in for a kiss? Can I? You know what I mean? But until you get that physical, until you get to touch them, that's when you kind of really know, like, oh, okay.
I had that thing happen to me. It was the same guy on our first date. We'd never seen each other. He comes in. I put my hand out. I'm a handshake girl. I put my hand out. He sees that, but then he does this. He puts his arms out. So he goes in for a hug. And I'm like, and I kind of did that uncomfortable, whatever. So he already knew. Then later on in the night, he goes in for a kiss when there was no vibe. And I did this like I tried to back away and he still went. So 2 times in one night, it's like, bro.
I know that look. Yeah, I've had that with girlfriends sometimes. God, it's horrible.
I'm just saying, like, come on, man. Like, it's too, I just met you. It's too much.
Yeah.
Obviously, his love language was physical touch.
Or maybe he just wanted to touch you. I don't know.
But,
you can't really tell, right? Because the physical touch, they tend to be that way. As far as going in for the kiss, that's not typically, you know what I mean? That's more.
But wouldn't a guy want to be sure? Like, that's when you kind of lean in a little bit to see. He just went like full force, but still too slow where he should have stopped. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You kind of get the little vibe.
He didn't get the social cues that he should have.
Yeah.
Right. But that comes with time. That's what I'm saying. Like with little kids, you learn these things. And then when you get older, that's when you like, okay, you've gone through the same thing. So you know the social, be cool, don't act a fool. like we're not kids anymore. We're adults now. We know that, like you got to be cool, whatever. But yeah, I think for that guy, he might have just been pervy. I don't know. I always gauge it because for me, I can usually tell whenever I go in for a hug, because I was going for a hug, if they're just not receptive to it, then chances are I won't try again for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And especially if I'm getting a vibe that she really, really doesn't like me, then yeah, it's like, okay, cool. No harm, no foul.
It kind of makes me think too, since we've been through a couple of these love languages, it feels like when you start dating someone, this feels like a really good topic to talk about early on. What's your love language? How do you interpret it? How do you want to be shown that? I'm not saying maybe on the first date, but I'm just saying if you kind of like somebody, I think these are really good topics to find out. So you don't have that situation where if you did go in for the hug and she's like, and then you're like, okay, I'm not going to try for a long time. Maybe it was just a first date thing for her. And then you don't try for several dates and then you kind of lose interest because you're like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, especially if that's your primary and the other person is not.
Yeah.
If the other person, and I would say that the love language, you kind of, for me, I kind of look like everybody has them to a certain extent. It's just some are more primary than others. And I would even go so far as to say that sometimes your love language can adjust over time or depending the situation that you're in that time, right? It really does depend.
You know, it's funny. I actually thought about that the other day when we did quality time because it was like, I remember being younger and for whatever, I don't know what changed, but it's like back then I felt like I wanted my partner to be around more. As I've gotten older, it's like, maybe it's okay if I don't have to see you every day.
I have a theory that you're turning into a man as you get older, but it's just me. I don't know. I could be wrong. I've
been fooling you this whole time.
I mean, I think you're morphing into a guy the older you get. So just by the time you're 50, you're going to be just a grumpy old.
Yeah.
You're not even going to wear dresses anymore.
Maybe.
You're going to be like, I'm done.
To be like, this is a podcast from a male and male perspective.
You do have a lot of, quote unquote male tendencies, let's say. But But yeah. But yeah, I think because even if somebody's like, for instance, is physical touch, right? Maybe they and I would imagine even those guys from time to time, me included, sometimes just don't want to be touched or nothing.
Yeah.
Just want to
be.
sometimes. Yeah, you just want to be alone. You just want to be whatever. Although a hug is always welcome. But I've turned it into my normal. I hug and kiss my kids all the time.
Yeah. I remember one time back in the day, I went to the movies with a boyfriend of mine, and it was like a movie that I had been waiting so long to see, and I was super excited. I won't name what it was because it'll super age me, but I remember being in there, and it'd come to like this pivotal point in the movie, and he was like trying to like be lovey with me, and I kind of like. I was kind of like, babe, like I'm watching, like I was really like, this was a big deal. It's like, can you just for this short period of time? And I'm like, I'm not even leaning back in the chair. I'm up like this. And he's like, and I'm like, dude, like later.
It's horrible. It's absolutely.
But I'm just saying to your point, there's certain times where it's like, you just want to be whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I would say the other thing too about, and and maybe it applies to the other love languages too, but physical touch can become addictive. Because again, every love language, everybody has a little bit of that.
Right.
Gift giving, time together, the physical touch, the what was the other, words of affirmation. So it can become really addictive. That's what I'm saying. If you have a partner that does that all the time, and even just out of habit, you're like, stop, but secretly you like it.
Yeah. Or even the massage thing. If you get a foot rub once a week, you kind of get accustomed to it. And then what if they're like, I don't want to do that anymore? And you're like, oh man.
Well, imagine it's even harder, right? Let's say that you're not a touchy-feely person. So physical touch, like obviously you like it, but it's minimal that you like to do that. But your partner isn't and does that to you all the time.
Yeah.
And maybe it annoys you, but you tolerate it because you're like, well, she loves me or he loves me. Like, I understand. And then something happens, let's say after a year or two, you guys break up. You're going to miss that a lot.
You're going to miss all the things that used to annoy you.
Yes. And especially, and then what's funny is then you'll start thinking like, man, he used to touch me and hug me. And so in your next relationship, if they're not doing that, you're going to feel like, I kind of like that. That's why I'm saying like it can change over time what you like. I think everybody likes all of those languages, but some just seem to be more primary or your default, let's say.
Yeah.
But you take that away, I'm telling you, it's and I hear it from people that, let's say, because we're creatures of habit, people that say like, oh, since I've been married to my husband, we slept in the same bed for 5 years. And then one day he had to go do a trip, a business trip. And that was the first time that we had ever slept apart. Like they don't know how to handle it. Like, what do I do? Like I'm used to that person, no matter what, always coming home and laying in bed or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, when they take away that physical touch, it sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it can change over time. I just remembering too, like I remember being younger and not mind snuggling, but you know me, Jose, I don't like to snuggle like that. I must be the only woman. I don't know, but I don't like snuggling. And I get it. It's a big deal for guys. So I try to accommodate every once in a while. Like I'll do it. I just really don't like snuggling. I don't know where that stems from.
I don't know either because that's insane to me. That's just insane. Sorry, I know we're not supposed to use the word insane, but it's insane to me. Who doesn't like to cuddle? I guess you, but
I would say maybe it's just more of like when I told you I have sleeping problems, right? So it's more of like when I'm trying to go to bed, I just want to be left alone because I have to be in a comfortable position.
Is yes, but snuggling is different.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. But like every time I sit on the couch, I don't want to snuggle all the time.
That's horrible. That's absolutely
I know.
Horrible. That's absolutely horrible. Because, one of the things that, there's another list of how to please a partner whose love language is physical touch, and they have like 10 different.
This episode may take a turn.
No, it's not. But there's one in here that I didn't know I liked until a couple of the people that I dated did it. Uh-huh. And then I was like, I really like that.
Do you want to say what it was?
Sure, no. Oh. It's not sexual. Gosh, did you think?
Well, it sounded like it was going to be. You're like, I didn't know I loved it so much.
Let me tell you what I'd like. No, so I have long hair, right? And putting my head on their laps while they like stroke my hair and just rub my head, I really, really like that. There's something, because I don't think you can be any more vulnerable than that, right? She has her hands on my head. So like,
She's got you in a chokehold.
I mean, there's other vulnerable spots that you could put it, but that is, there's something comforting about that.
It's very soothing because we
Very,
all
very
got
soothing.
that. Well,
Women like it too, by the way.
Oh no, women love it. Here's the thing. We love it, or let me speak for myself, because my mother did that to us when we were little.
Yeah.
So it's a soothing, comforting thing. But I will tell you, most guys do not reciprocate that same thing. So we want our heads to be rubbed and our hair to be lightly played with, or maybe you lightly brush it. That feels so good, but guys don't do it. I've asked.
Yeah.
They don't.
Really?
They don't want to do it.
I used to do it
because they don't do it right. They do it too hard, or they're like this.
No. I used to do it for my ex-wife. She used to get migraines and stuff. We had to close all the shades and stuff, and sometimes I could do that, and it would help out. Not always.
I do it to my sister sometimes, like because my sister and I, when we were growing up, we were very close. We were kind of similar in age, and so I remember brushing my sister's hair, you know, when we were younger. So like every once in a while, when like a family, like something gathering, there's like a hairbrush. I'll kind of like, oh, you let me brush your hair, and then like she's like, oh, it feels so good. Oh, dude,
it feels fantastic. Trust me, I know. I have long hair.
Yeah.
So
I'm just saying, women like it too, but we don't get it from men very often.
yeah, you should ask. Because I would imagine, well, yeah.
But for women, I think it's a natural, it's almost like a motherly thing that we all have in us. Because I do.
But you don't have sausage fingers either. Guys have sausage fingers.
Oh, I thought you meant women had sausage fingers.
No, I said you guys don't. Women don't have sausage. So you have more tender, gentle fingers running through your hair. It's different than like a couple of sausages running through your scalp, and you're like, dude. Take those, what are they, the Eckerd, whatever those sausages that they have. But anyways, yeah, I love that. And when I thought I didn't like that because I didn't like people playing with my hair and touching it. But this one lady that I dated, she didn't force me into it, but she was insistent.
She was like, you're gonna like it.
And I was like, fine, let me do it. And then she did it, and I was like, oh man.
That just goes to show you got to be open to new things because you don't know what you're gonna like.
For sure. And so yeah, and then after that, somebody else I dated did it, and I was like, oh man, this is pretty good. But I think, like you said, I think it's instinctual for you guys. Yeah, where we would have to work at it.
Anytime whoever I'm with, if it's a situation where their head is like here, we're rubbing our fingers through your hair, your neck, sides of your face.
You're getting all up in it. Jeez.
I get all up in there.
Well, and you say that, but I would also say one of my favorite things, and this part I do know, is when a woman puts her hands on my face. Couples my face. There's something about that I absolutely love. I don't know what it is.
That seems like another childhood thing. If like your mommy,
Yeah. Say more, please.
I'm just saying.
I like where this is going.
Your mother when you were little.
Nah, my mommy.
But yeah, it's just a very soothing, sweet thing. Yeah, I get it.
Again, it's very vulnerable. Again, you just,
because she could be like,
yeah, she could. Yeah, but I do like it when women do that. When not every woman will do that, but I do like it when that happens. I don't know why, but it just feels really, really good. But anyway, so the list.
Okay.
So one of them is walking and holding hands. Okay. They like that. So that's one way you can please them. Giving hugs. That's we talked about that, and obviously that goes on. Whenever your partner is feeling blue, holding them closely. So yeah, that does. I don't know. It it helps a lot. I was talking to a friend of mine, and we were talking about anxiety. I know this isn't anxiety, but we were talking about different things and techniques that you can use to try to help with anxiety, or like breathing hard. And one of the things that I've tried that I didn't think I was gonna like, and it was the same girl, by the way. She showed me a lot. Was a weighted blanket. I didn't think I was going to like that because I like to toss and turn and this, that, and the other. But when I got the weighted blanket,
I can't tell you how many times I'm almost put the trigger on buying one of those because it's the same thing. It's like, I feel like I know I would like it, but it's just kind of like, you know, it's like one of those things.
What the only hard part about having a weighted blanket is the storage. Because they're heavy, they're weighted. So you don't know where to put them, and wherever you do put them, like it's going to squash whatever's underneath it. So you can't put it in with other stuff.
How many pounds is it in total?
You would have to look at it, but I think the one that I have might be like 40 or 50 pounds, maybe.
Dang.
Maybe. So
it's like a large dog laying on top of you.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So, but it's comforting because you know you can get out, but you try to wiggle and you can't. Like it's
wiggle.
Because it holds you snug and secure. And I remember, I have two kids, right, 2 sons, and one of the babies, the oldest one, we would wrap them up. So that they show you a wrapping technique when they're infants.
Yeah.
And it soothes them, right?
Yeah.
Because
it's like a little Chipotle burrito.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly like a burrito, right? And so my oldest son, we would wrap him up and he would love it. It would soothe him and he would go to sleep or, you know, he would calm himself down. The older one, not so much. The older one, we would wrap him up and immediately he'd start trying to break out. And he'd start crying and he hated it, did not like that at all. And as I
wonder how he feels about physical touch.
Well, you know, you say that. And when he was little, he didn't particularly care for it too much.
Yeah.
But I did it a lot. And over time, he got used to it. And not only did he get used to it, maybe this was bad parenting, by the way.
You forced the love language on your son.
Basically. But what's funny now is that he's figured it out. And so I still think that he does like giving hugs and stuff like that, but it's very minimal.
Yeah.
And most of the time when he does it now, it's just to appease me.
Yeah.
That's it. So he knows that I like getting hugs and this, that. So he'll just come over and give me a hug. But sometimes he forgets. And when he remembers, that's when he'll usually do it. But again, it's not, I don't think it's his primary.
That's sweet.
To be honest with you.
That's so sweet.
But he's gotten used to it, right? And I don't know, like I said, you know, maybe I screwed him up. You know, I had to go to therapy and talk about that. But if that's the worst that I did, then so be it.
Well, it's kind of the same thing with like, even if you let your kids sleep in the bed with you a lot when they're growing up.
Yeah.
I think from what I hear from parents, it's almost like the parents like it more. So they let it continue because they like that feeling of their child sleeping next to them. It's almost like you feel more protected. You don't think that, okay, they're in the room. You don't know what's going on, right?
Right. Yeah.
So
it's anxiety induced for sure. When my kids, now that they're getting older and they stay out of the house, it was tough for me to fall asleep knowing that they were not in the house.
Yeah.
It was
That's
tough.
what all parents say.
It really is. And I have 2 boys, mind you. So for the most part, you know, but I worry about them getting in trouble or doing something stupid or just being at the wrong place at the wrong time, whatever.
I have something slightly like that when I'm dating someone. If they drop me off or whatever, it's like, I want to know you made it home safe.
Yeah.
And if I don't know you, I won't go to bed until I know you are home safe. I don't know why I do that, but it's just like, I don't want to worry. So it's just like, okay, they're safe. Now I can go to bed. I do that even though I don't have any children. That's what I'm saying. Translates.
Yeah. Except for me, when I text you, you're like, dude, I'm asleep. Leave me alone.
Do you know what time it is?
Just letting you know I got home safe. Yeah, whatever, dude.
Thank you for being a friend. Okay.
Let me know in the morning.
1 a.m. Jeez.
If I didn't hear from you for a few days, then I knew you didn't make it.
But even like, it just makes me feel good. I know that's not a really good trait because if they forget or something, then I'm up worrying. Yeah. And it's like, I don't need to be. So like, I think I talked to my mom about this. She was like, you probably should stop doing that because then you're creating anxiety for yourself. Yeah. Just say when you leave, it's like, okay, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Yeah. But I can't. I haven't been able to switch over yet.
Yeah, it's hard. I remember I've had people worry about me, which is always sweet to me because sometimes it's women, right? And when a woman is worried about you, like, oh, I hope you get home safe. For me, anyways, I always find that very, very sweet because chances are
your face is all red right now.
No, because I always I don't know why. Am I? Yes. But I don't know why. But because I'm thinking of a few times where women have done that and they've cared about it. And the reason why it's so funny to me is because like I've done a lot of stuff in my time. I was a hellion, like, you know what I mean? Like I've done a lot of bad stuff. I grew up in a very poor neighborhood. And so I've done a lot of stuff. I've seen a lot of things, a lot of horrible things. And for these people to be worried about me, I find that sweet because I'm just like, yeah, I can take care of myself. Let's just put it that way. That's not to say that I couldn't get hurt. Obviously, I still can. Like, that's always a possibility.
For women, it makes us feel good because it's like, it's almost like you're trying to protect me.
Yeah.
But you're not there. But it still feels like you're protecting me.
Well, it's sweet that you're even thinking about it. With all the stuff that you have to do. Like I should be able to take care of myself, right? I know how to take care of myself. But the fact that you're worried about me just shows me that you care about me. Yeah. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a very sweet thing.
It.
You know what I mean? Like John Wick's girlfriend. Wouldn't say, "Call me when you get there, baby." He's John Wick. He'll be fine. Like he's gonna be okay, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's always sweet, and that's why you don't know how to take it. You're like, do you really think I'm gonna get hurt from here? Like, do you not think so? That some guys might take it that way.
Yeah, they'll be like, well, I just drove 10 miles. It's not that far. It's like that's not the point. Right, Anything could happen in 10 miles.
And it's the sentiment. Like you said, even if something like that were to happen, there's really not much you can do. Right? We're just doing it because you're worried about us and you just want to have that comfort so you can go to sleep knowing that your partner's at home, and that's completely reasonable. Yeah. So the guys that think like, well, you think I can handle myself? And that's what those guys sound like. What, you don't think?
Man of many voices today.
I mean, I can go into my what I like stuff. Let me tell you what I like. But anyways, all right, we'll go. Let's see here. Oh, this is where I was telling you, comb your loved one's locks of hair, and then cuddling up, which you don't like doing. I hope you don't get with a guy that's love language is physical touch because he's in trouble.
Yeah.
Initiate intimacy. So the person whose physical touch is their love language likes it with other people. And really, one of the things that I keep on coming up with is that you can kind of tell based on how your partner is acting and the things that they do, you can kind of figure out their love. I mean, you can have a conversation about it too. Like, let's say you talk to your partner, you're like, hey, like you said, it's early on, like just so that, now we've been dating 3 months and we're getting a little more, like, I want to know, what you like and what you don't like. They might say one thing, but they're going to show you, if they show you the exact same thing, then great, they're on point. But they can say something and then show it to you differently, and you're going to have to figure that one out too.
Do you think some of that is purposely lying? Or not, well, maybe not purposely, but like, how you think you're a certain way, but it's the way you want to be, not necessarily the way you are. Exactly so like right. If someone's saying, this is my love language for whatever, either it's subconscious or not, whatever, but like, yeah, like you said, you're going to be able to find out really quickly based on their actions what that thing is.
You really will.
Why would they lie about it though?
It's not that they lie about it. Again, it could be a couple of different things. And if they are lying, I don't think it's intentional. It could be a situation where, like I was telling you before, their previous partner was physical touch. So then they started missing their partner and thought, oh, I'm physical touch. But in reality...
And then they get it and they're like, no, wait, I don't like this.
Well, it's not so much that they don't like it, but then when you get with them, you notice that they're not that affectionate. Yeah. So it's like, oh, okay. Because they'll let you know if it's physical touch, they're going to start like, trying to get closer to you and try to touch you a lot more. You're going to know really, really fast when it's physical touch. If it's two people, like that physical touch isn't their thing and they can both sit on a couch, with plenty of room between them and they're perfectly fine. Great. Good for you guys. That's fantastic. But the other one, if it's physical touch, trust me, they're going to inch their way closer and they're going to want to get closer to you and more and more and more and more. And so when they do that, if the other person initiates intimacy, that's really going to trigger. So again, back to that other one where they thought it was physical touch, but then she constantly gives her partner gifts. And that's how she does it. It's like, hey, I saw this and I noticed you didn't have one in your house. Got it for you. And I noticed you said you wanted this the other day. You saw this tie. I got it for you. And she does that a lot, but doesn't come and make it a point to touch you or whatever.
Sounds like Sleepy Hollow in here, don't it? The wind is kicking up.
I think I touched the nerve of one of the ghosts in your apartment. In your house.
They just made me do Sleepy Hollow this whole time.
Okay, goodness. So you're used to this?
Yeah.
You're used to the spirits talking to you? okay, spirits. I'm here in peace. I didn't do it. Whatever Robbie did. But yeah. So anyways, that's, they would just tell you, like, they're going to let you know. I think one thing that the love languages for me has done is that if you really pay attention to people and really pay attention to your partner, they're going to tell you exactly how they want to be loved.
Right.
Now, whether or not you're able to accommodate, that's a different story.
Yeah.
But they will tell you how they want to be loved.
Yeah.
So
I would say if you start dating someone and let's say you've gone on like 5 dates and they haven't made any advances to touch you in any type of way. Yeah, you can already assume it's like, okay, this person's not touchy feel. I would say after the second, like on the second date, you're probably trying to at least hold their hand. Yeah. You're trying to test out the physical part to see if you have that connection.
That's another podcast in and of itself. Because you know what I've learned? Like, some women, they like to hold hands. Mm-hmm. And there's a subset of that too, but we'll just stop at that. And then there's other women that like to hold on to your arm. Mm. And I've experienced both, and it's very interesting because we'll start walking parallel, obviously, and one of two things will happen: either she'll reach out and grab my hand, and we'll hold hands, or she'll reach out and grab my arm, and then I'll do the whole.
I'm gonna say something. This may sound totally weird, but go with me on it. I have that same thing, but mine's situational. In a fun, lighter type of thing, I'll hold hands. If it's like dinner, something a little bit whatever, that's when I put it on their arm. Yeah. So it's like based on like where we're going or what, like if we're just walking around downtown, like, I'm just holding your hand. I'm not holding you like this. It's almost like like I'm the lady for the night, right? And that's what a lady would do. But
there's a default. I think what you're talking about is, like once you've been with somebody for a long time and you gauge the situation, but you will, or at least I've noticed that certain women will go one way or the other. They either want to hold hands, it doesn't matter, or they want to be on your arm. I'm good either way. When the first time when I did the arm thing, that threw me off. Because I was like, oh, okay. Because you have to adjust how you walk. Obviously, you have to adjust the way you walk when holding hands too. But the subset of holding hands is, I like holding hands, but the problem is, or not a problem, but there's certain challenges that you have with hand holding. You don't know if you're going to do the interlocking finger thing. And if they're really knuckly, that might be a problem. And then, yeah, you know what I mean? You know, they got knuckles. And then the other one is if your hands start getting sweaty, like what do you do in that situation? Because you obviously don't want to have,
And you don't want to be the first one to let go because you don't want to be rude. Right. That's what happens. Like, oh God, I want to let go.
So sometimes the arm thing works because you don't have that. Like, again, the only time you ever have to worry about is if she wants to go look at something that you don't, then she would have to break off or whatever. But anyway,
in your dating experience, would you say that for physical touch for a woman is important, or do you find it's not so much?
In my experience, it's very important.
Okay.
It's very, very important. It's very, very important.
Yeah.
It's
I like light pieces of physical touch, not all the time. And I'm sure everyone will be able to understand that as a woman, sometimes your man can't keep his hands off you all the time and it can be a little too much. But like the little things, putting your hand on the small of my back, helping me walk up the stairs, holding my hand, the sweet little things. Yeah. I really like those things.
Sure you do.
Just not cuddling.
We're not going to get into that right now. But the last one, and then we'll end it on this one, was dancing together. And I do like it because I'm not a very good dancer, but I love dancing. I like close-up dancing.
Yeah. Do you remember back in the day when like women would go for a guy because he was a good dancer?
They still do. That's the best. If you know how to dance.
Oh, maybe I just haven't met any men that know how to dance.
Dude, if you know how to dance, you can just about get any girl you want. And is
that a tip to the fellows? Go take a dancing class?
It really is. I tell my kids all the time, learn how to dance. Learn how to dance, because there is nothing more. Because and again, I know it's not politically correct to say this all the time nowadays, but the man has to lead. There's something about that and the woman follows, and obviously they have to be in sync. So there's something that's way more dynamic in a dance than it's a whole nother thing when you're dancing with another person. I'm not talking about like you're dancing over there and I'm over here and we're just going up and down and like, hey, it's kind of cool.
Junior high style, the guys over there.
Like either a certain genre or a certain dance or just up close and just dancing together.
Yeah.
There's something, you will find out each other's rhythm. You will find out what each other likes. It becomes less awkward at a certain point. Like it's as close to like, besides physical intimacy, that's about as close as you can
What do
get.
guys like more, being danced, the woman's hands are around your neck, both of them, like up here? Or is it one up here and then one below?
I think I don't know, I can't speak for women, but
No, I'm asking for men. Do men like it when women have their arms up here? Or when they have one on top of the shoulder and one underneath?
no, I like it when they're up on top.
Okay.
It's fine. But it depends. It's situational, right? So it depends on what they're comfortable with. But
It seems like when you're around the neck, you could get closer. Feels like
You could.
because I don't know.
you could. It's just it's a because dance is there's a rhythm to it. There's so many things going on. You have to be on the same page because if you're not, it looks awkward. You misstep, you're not in sync.
Yeah.
It's just bad. But if you know and you can adapt to that woman and learn how to do that, I'm telling you. Remember Saturday Night Fever?
Yeah.
John Travolta? Like that was his thing. Like he just happened to be handsome. But what made him more attractive to women was that he knew how to dance. Like
I
you
think
go out
even if
there-
John Travolta didn't know how to dance, I think
Well,
women would
I
still.
don't know. That's for another show. But this one's been really great.
Yeah. Sorry, guys. I know we got off topic a little bit, but like,
That's all right. It was a good show, and
Yeah.
we'll continue exploring them. But yeah, I had a good time with this one.
me too.
Did you like it?
Yes.
All right. I guess until next time then.
Next week.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.